Hey, good afternoon. My name is co-host Victor.
And I'm co-host Jonas.
And here we are again with another edition of our Bible stories. Thank you for joining us. We will be visiting the story of Jacob and Esau. Mm-hmm. Hope you guys are ready for some sibling rivalries.
Some drama going on here.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Today in our panel we have Sister Christina.
Hi.
And Brother Cesar.
Hey.
And we have
our guest,
Brother Dale. How are you doing, Brother Dale?
Great, good to be here.
Ooh.
Awesome. Alrighty, guys. This will be Jacob and Esau. It takes place in the book of Genesis, chapter 25, verse 19, all the way through 33, verse 20. And for this one, we will be using a
paraphrased version.
Correct. Just so that we can get the full story in our timeline.
Because this is a big story. If you want, you can take some time, read it all through, and we can help you get through it as well if you come over 625 East Sam Houston. Never forget it.
Alrighty, Brother Jonas.
Let's get started. So, Abraham's son Isaac grew up and married Rebekah. Rebekah gave birth to twins. Now the first came forth red, all over like a hairy garment, and they named him Esau. That's so gross. Afterward, his brother came forth with his hand holding on to Esau's heel, so his name was called Jacob. When the boys grew up, Esau became a skillful hunter, a man of the field, but Jacob was a peaceful man, living in tents. Now Isaac loved Esau because he had a taste for game, but Rebekah loved Jacob. When Jacob had cooked stew, Esau came in from the field, and he was famished. And Esau said to Jacob, "Please let me have a swallow of that red stuff there, for I am famished." Therefore his name was called Edom. But Jacob said, "First sell me your birthright." Isaac said, "Behold, I am about to die. So of what use then is the birthright to me?" And Jacob said, "First swear to me." So he swore to him, and sold his birthright to Jacob. Then Jacob gave Esau bread and lentil stew. He did that for lentil stew, man. Mm-hmm. And he ate and drank and rose and went on his way. Thus Esau despised his birthright. Now it came about, when Isaac was old and his eyes were too dim to see, that he called his older son Esau and said to him, "My son." And he said to him, "Here I am. Go out to the field and hunt game for me, and prepare a savory dish for me. Bring it to me that I may eat, so that my soul may bless you before I die." Rebekah was listening while Isaac spoke to his son Esau. So when Esau went to the field to hunt for game to bring home, Rebekah said to her son Jacob, "Go now to the flock, and bring me 2 choice young goats from there, that I may prepare them as a savory dish for your father, such as he loves." Rebekah prepared the food, took Esau's best clothes for Jacob, and put skins of young goats on Jacob's hands and on the smooth part of his neck. Jacob left his mother to present the meal to Isaac, and told him that he was Esau. Although Isaac could not see, he was not sure that it was really Esau who brought him the meal. Isaac asked Jacob directly, "Is it really you, Esau?" And again, Jacob lied and said that he was Esau. Isaac finally agreed to give the cherished blessing to Jacob. Very soon after Jacob left his father, Esau came along with the meal he prepared for his dad. Both Isaac and Esau were shocked to realize that Jacob had already received the blessing. Esau was furious and vowed to kill his brother Jacob. I would be too. Isaac and Rebekah encouraged Jacob to leave home and travel north to Rebekah's homeland, Haran. There Isaac and Rebekah were hoping Jacob could find a wife of their lineage. It was a long journey, and Jacob traveled alone. One night, Jacob used a rock for a pillow. As he slept, he saw a ladder from earth reaching to heaven, with the angels of God ascending and descending on it. God then blessed Jacob. Rejoicing, Jacob praised God, and with the stone as a monument called the place Bethel. God continued to guide Jacob to his mother's homeland. There he fell in love with his uncle Laban's daughter, Rachel. Laban was full of tricks, like his sister Rebekah, so he managed to trick Jacob into marrying both Rachel and her sister Leah.
Wow.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
God was with Jacob and blessed him with many children, livestock, and wealth. Laban was jealous and kept trying to discourage Jacob. After many years, Jacob told Rachel and Leah that he wanted to return home. So they packed up and left for Jacob's homeland. When Jacob came near to his homeland, he began to fear meeting with his brother Esau once more. Jacob prayed, and this time God met him in an unexpected way. That night, in his anxiety, Jacob ended up wrestling with a stranger. They wrestled through the night. "It was time to stop," Jacob said. "I will not let you go unless you bless me." So he said to him, "What is your name?" And he said, "Jacob." He said, "Your name shall no longer be Jacob, but Israel, for you have striven with God and with men and have prevailed." Then Jacob lifted his eyes and looked, and behold, Esau was coming, and 400 men with him. Then Esau ran to meet him and embraced him, and fell on his neck and kissed him, and they wept. Thus God blessed Jacob and Esau. This is a crazier story than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah. So, Mom did have a favorite.
She sure did, didn't she?
Look, the problem, what she did when we have a favorite son.
Yeah. I had some questions prepared here for our dear guest. Why don't we get with the first one and see how we go from there? And this is an interesting one. Is this just a story about forgiveness? What do y'all think?
Well, what Esau did at the end to me was kind of impressive, right? I mean, obviously a long time had elapsed. Maybe he was more
Mature, maybe?
and happy just to see his brother after such a long time. That he kind of let bygones be bygones, but that's a big...
Hard to do.
Yeah. Brother Dell?
What is the question?
Is this just a story about forgiveness?
You know, I was kind of trying to look back here and read some of the things. It looked like Esau sold his birthright.
Mm-hmm.
And it said that Rebecca, is it Rebecca?
Yep.
Yeah.
Tricked Jacob into thinking, Isaac into thinking it was the other son. So apparently that bartering of the birthright was not official.
Yeah.
So they were trying to trick him into doing it, but it appears to me that was God's plan because he allowed all of that to take place, didn't he?
Yes.
Yeah.
But I was certainly glad to see the forgiveness come up there. You know, I had not remembered that part of it, that he was forgiven.
Yeah.
That is a great end to that story. He was worried about his brother's relationship.
He was very worried. Jacob sent gifts and gifts before him.
Yeah.
Because he was very worried if Esau wanted to kill him.
Well, he vowed
But
he would kill
Esau
him.
was already forgiven him. Yeah. But
Which is
Jacob-
crazy. I mean, I cannot imagine what Esau might have been feeling at that moment when he was betrayed like that. And lied. Well, they lied to Isaac, right? But, potato.
With that Isaac, imagine how Isaac must have felt, right?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, his obviously his wife betrayed him, his kids betrayed him. Well, his son betrayed him also because he went along with it.
Yeah.
And then he gives the blessing. And it kind of blew my mind, like, oh, I already gave the blessing to him, but going back to what you're saying, well, you were misled to give that blessing. Couldn't you kind of denounce the blessing and give it again, I guess?
Well, apparently it's not available again. Once the blessing is given, it's no longer there. It's it's like a last will and testimony that we have. You can't go back on it once it's given.
Yes. Actually, Esau asked
He does, right?
yes, Isaac,
He's like,
please give me, you have only one blessing to give? He asked his father. But again, Isaac said, sorry, my son, I gave my blessing to Jacob.
So do you think that, like you mentioned, all of it being part of God's plan, he goes back to where Rebecca's from, and essentially he gets tricked into marrying
Yes.
2 women,
Yes.
right? And that's what creates this whole. Because God, this is going way all the way back to God telling Abraham, all this descendancy, you're going to have a lot of descendants. So all of that plays into that.
Yeah.
So.
Yes.
There's so many aspects of the story. It's kind of going. A lot of it's going over my head right now. Some of it, actually, I wanted to talk about this. What is up with the ladder and the stranger wrestling? Why did that have to take place?
This is all the story side of this story.
Really?
Yeah.
What's the
because he's wrestling with. Is he wrestling with God? Right. It's just that it's in the dark. So he never gets to see him.
Mm-hmm.
That's.
I will not let you go unless you bless me, he said to him. What is your name? He said, Jacob. Your name shall no longer be Jacob, but Israel.
And then you have the nation of Israel after that, or is that how that works?
Yeah, that's
I've
how
always
that
heard that this was an angel.
Hmm.
And do you know what the name is translated to?
Which one?
Jacob.
Okay. No?
His name was changed to Israel.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
Do you know what that means? Strives with God.
Oh, really?
Oh,
So it all has a meaning and circles back around there.
where you have striven with God.
And what's the history of the Israelites?
Oh,
yeah.
Oh, wow.
Isn't that interesting how it
Yes.
all kind of folds together?
Yeah.
They're striving with God.
To this day,
Yeah.
Absolutely.
that's amazing.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
And was the ladder just God showing off, or
Where he's saying that.
one night Jacob used a rock for a pillow as he slept? He saw a ladder from earth reaching to heaven with the angels of God ascending and descending on it. When that happened.
It's almost like he's being chosen there.
Yeah.
It's like he's being revealed some things that I don't understand what the significance of the angels ascending and descending, but it's a powerful dream, and it's giving Jacob some idea that he's got a connection with God in a visual dreaming situation.
I guess you're right. I mean, if I did see a ladder from heaven touching earth with angels ascending and ascending on it, I would change some things in my life. Some things would have to change.
It also says something about Jacob and his tenacity to wrestle all night long.
Oh, yeah.
And not give up, and just steadfast, until the guy gave him a blessing. He was really headstrong in
Yeah.
his relation, in his spirit, I guess you'd say.
Yeah. Man, I see myself in the story and I don't like it too much. I'm a stubborn guy.
I see myself when I need some food, and then it's not a good time to make some deal. So because I can sell something so cheap, if I,
You can sell me.
yeah, or yeah, maybe I can tell my mom or my wife too. So
For food.
I give them now all to eat something. So
There's a sign that I saw in a restaurant that said, "I want to apologize for my bad behavior when I've been hungry."
Perfect.
You're giving up your birthright. Yeah, that's up there.
It's fitting that was in a restaurant.
Well, this was a very interesting story, to say the least.
Yeah.
And the message of forgiveness, and God being true to His word, everything coming back full circle, and like Brother Dell says, the significance of the name Israel. And it just puts a lot of things in play.
Another issue there is that Esau, I apologize, I've always pronounced the name Esau.
No, that's fine.
It doesn't make any difference.
We know what
but
you're talking about.
You know what I'm talking about. He had 400 men with him, so he's not only powerful, he's been successful in his life, in his growing up, and his being blessed by God too.
Good point.
Yeah.
And even coming with the 400 men, and he confronts his brother, whom he had sworn to kill. He didn't. Just embraced him, loved him.
That's beautiful.
And then the very last verse here, thus God blessed Jacob and Esau.
So does Esau ends up? Well, I don't know if we're going to touch these stories later on, but does he end up having like a nation or a tribe or something later on?
Yes.
Okay, great. Well, looking forward to learning that one.
All of those guys, Ishmael from Abraham,
Yeah.
Right.
He had a huge. God blessed his
In fact,
line of coverage.
We
there.
just skipped
Islam.
over that in
Yeah.
chapter 26, I believe, is
12
where.
tribes? Doesn't he?
Yes,
I believe so.
I
No, no.
believe. No?
No, Ishmael was.
Was the descendants of the Arabs? So
Yeah,
yeah,
Islam.
Islam.
Are we talking about the same thing?
Well, I think so.
Yeah, I think
You
so.
got several. You got the Arab nations. You got the Canaanites that came out of Shamham and that line,
Mhm.
and so all of those seem to have a big load
Big
of descendants
nation,
that followed
yes.
that made
Big
nations
nation.
after them.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Can I talk a little more about the dream? Because I opened the Bible at the verse, chapter 28, verse 12, and this dream was very important because it was the promise, the continuation of the promise that God made with Isaac. In this dream, he is talking with Jacob and telling the promises. So
Are you talking about the staircase with the angels?
yes,
Okay.
that dream.
Okay.
So Genesis 28:12 says, he had a dream, and behold, a ladder was set on the earth with its top reaching to heaven, and behold, the angels of God were ascending and descending on it. And behold, the Lord stood above it and said, I am the Lord, the God of your father Abraham, and the God of Isaac. The land of which you lie, I will give it to you and to your descendants. Your descendants will also be like the dust of the earth, and you will spread out to the west and to the east and to the north and to the south. And in you and in your descendants shall all the families of the earth be blessed. So in this dream, God is confirming
Yeah.
the promise that
Good
He
promise.
did with their fathers, so Abraham and Isaac.
Cool.
Yeah, and the place is important, called Bethel.
Bethel is.
Bethel.
Soon to be Bethlehem.
There's other stories after this. They came to this place again, and so that's a special place where God appears to Jacob.
Yeah. Speaking of stories with Jacob, there's so many stories with Jacob.
Which we will be visiting quite a
Yes,
few.
yes.
Yeah.
Stay tuned for those. But
Yeah.
there's more stories for Jacob than there are for Abraham, I think, in what we've got lined up here for us. So I'm excited to see how their life unfolds, right? So
I'd like to thank everybody for participating. Brother Dell, thank you for joining us on this brief Bible story and to the panel. As always, you're more than welcome to join us on Wednesdays. We have service at 7, as well as on Sunday we have Bible study 9:30 to 10:30, and we have service 10:30 till noon. Thank you for joining us.